Okay, hello everyone. We are going to, oh sweet, can I force next slide with this? Damn, lame. Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to be covering OSINT. So that is not what I wanted. That's the announcements page. So OSINT is my kind of favorite thing to talk about. So I'm going to keep it brief today, and then we're going to do OSINT. I'm switching it, so we're going to do OSINT 2 this weekend. So if you want to hear me ramble about basically how to stalk people, but professionally, we're going to do a lot more of that this weekend. Let's hide the floating meeting controls. Cool. So some quick announcements. Ship off our authentication bot, which allows us to not have to verify you manually. We need people to help maintain it. So if you are interested in that, people in the room, people on Zoom, people watching the recording, please reach out to me or Nathan. We just need people to help maintain our bot. Then, important, merch form right now. It's out, it's public. If you want, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work at the blank page.
Why is it a blank page? Just get the form link from GitHub. You know how to do
OSINT
this.
the form link.
Go OSINT, yeah. Can you post the form link in general, please? Oh, God,
OSINT the form link.
please go fill that out. The form link is in general right now. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. Thank you. The form, it'll go up soon.
Someone put it in Zoom chat.
Someone also spam it in Zoom chat. Thanks. Okay, and then third, we're gonna do a spray paint social at some point. So there's an alleyway in Urbana called the SIGPwny, and it is an open spray paint alleyway, which means as long as it's generally appropriate, like what you're drawing is appropriate, you can go into this alleyway and you can spray paint stuff. I own $88 of spray paint, so I will nuke my spray paint collection so we can go have a good time and paint the alleyway, which will be really fun. And then lastly, we're doing an info transfer this weekend. So for the time being, because I don't want to add a bunch more challenges, I'm going to allow you to violate one of the big CTF no-nos, and you can hoard flags today. I dropped a flag spreadsheet in the announcements channel. Go there, make a copy of that spreadsheet, and hoard all your flags there. The one exception is that the original spring 2019 suite is up and live. Okay, cool. We're moving it'll still be here. We're moving everything from AWS to our server now that our server is back. That way I don't have to keep paying like $10 a month for AWS shit.
If you want to do that, it's gonna be the whole weekend grind.
All right. Wow. All right. So. All right. Cool. So announcements are over. It is 6:10. I'm going to set a timer because I want to be done by 6:25, and also I could talk about this for hours. So let's go. So real quick, media flag. SIGPwny Thomas has a Wattpad that Pete found that I didn't know existed until now, and I made it apparently in 2014. It's a fan fiction website.
Oh.
It's like the one that was popular in 2014, and apparently I made one, and I have a story on it.
Oh, that's good.
But it's like 20 words though, and it's like not an actual story. It's just like me saying like, oh, I might make stories on here.
So that's what the find something embarrassing. I saw that pop up.
Yeah, that's kind of how Pete got those points. But now I know about it, and it's kind of funny. No, I'll keep it there. I'll keep it there. No, you get to. I need to make the bonus one because there's like 2 bonus ones. Because if you find something like embarrassing that I forgot about, you get like an extra 100 points. And if you find something that I have to go delete because it's legitimately embarrassing, you get 500 points. Okay, So OSINT, open source intelligence. What the hell is that? So OSINT is open source. So the stuff you are gathering is accessible to the general public most of the time. It is, if it's not immediately accessible, it is accessible with some amount of enumeration. So that is like trying like additional information gathering, basically. And then intelligence. What that is it's information that can be used or is valuable for some operation. There's a big range of value of intelligence. It could be something like birthdays and usernames could be really valuable. It could be post content, metadata about information, all that kind of stuff. This will overlap a little bit with like web investigation. So like our Web 1 meeting can help you with the skills for this. And there's a bunch of pseudonyms for it. So if you ever heard of like recon, cyber reconnaissance, human intelligence, etc. It's generally considered like the easy like grab bag type of thing within security. But let me tell you, it can definitely be easy, but it can also be really hard, as you'll see. So real quick, a warning. OSINT, especially human intelligence, is functionally stalled. Don't be creepy. Make sure you have permission before OSINTing someone/thing. Once you get more experienced within security and OSINT, that rule kind of becomes more gray, but not a lot of people have the ability to make that judgment call yet. So for the time being, make sure you have permission before OSINTing someone. You could find the big thing is that you could find something you don't like or like we were supposed to see. Yeah. So it's also, it can be creepy if someone's not, if you're like know crazy amounts of things about someone. So anyway, the 4 types of intelligence that we'll cover, I'm going to really briefly cover the first 3, then we're going to really go into the 4th one today. So there's systems intelligence, there's network intelligence, there's organizational intelligence, and there's human intelligence. So systems intelligence, oh, okay, yeah. Well, okay, already went through that. So systems intelligence, quick summary. It's basically getting information about a system you're attacking. Generally, we're gonna call this OSINT only if the system is public to the internet. If it's like within a local network, then you want to start calling this like internal systems enumeration, which is like it's part of pen testing, which we will cover, just not right now. A great way to do this is to trick, because systems are generally isolated. It's not going to be giving away the information. More often than not, you have to ask the system into giving you that information voluntarily. And that could be something as easy as like going to a website and looking at the information there. Port scanning is a huge one, and we're going to cover port scanning super in depth on this weekend. Just like the implications of it, like how it works, the different ports that you might give a shit about, etc. And the other thing is information probes. So that is like, it's not necessarily port scanning, but you're hitting a system with a request for information like, hey, what's the time? Or like, hey, what's your operating system model, which you can do with like certain requests. So like with Windows systems, if you send a SMB login request, it will reply with a specific format that will be indicated as like, oh, this is Windows version 7.1 build 16908. I don't know if it's an actual build, but you get my point. And then the last one is IRL intelligence. So that basically means like I walk up here and I see that this is a Wacom display model, model something, right? And it's, it's touch screen, all of that. And like, I go back and I Google like what vulnerabilities exist for that. Or I'm walking around in a building and I see password : like password 123. That's like, it's kind of OSINT, but also like you're kind of encroaching on like, now you're just like breaking into somewhere. So the network intelligence, where is it and who is it talking to? Oh, I deleted the summary slide. Great. So quick summary of network intelligence. It's basically systems intelligence, but on a larger scale. It's for this, you're probably starting to use like Shodan, and then you're going to start to like map out like a network. So there's a lot of different ways to map out networks. You can kind of do it on your own. You could like draw it up. There's also Motego, which is a great tool that I'm going to talk about near the end of this. But what you really want to see is how is data coming into the network? How is data coming out of the network? And the networks are just groups of systems. So how are these systems communicating with each other? A lot of this is going to end up being Windows systems because most of the world still runs on Windows. So we're gonna, on Sunday, we're gonna cover kind of the intros for how that stuff works. It's gonna be really cool. Make sure to show up or at least watch the video. Then organizational intelligence. How does an organization operate on a organizational level? Quick summary there. Basically gathering information like what is their operational security like? Do they use multi-factor authentication? Who works for them? So that's like, you know, scrolling LinkedIn, figuring out who works for a company. Then like figuring out their username like pattern. So like if it's first name dot last name at company.com or something of the sort, like does that translate to an actual username on their internal systems? Like could you log in to their VPN with that username, or is there a disconnect? And then another thing is policy decisions. Don't OSINT the company if the company's lawyers are assholes, or just if the company is like well known to be an asshole. Yeah. So going back to port scanning, real quick, I should really specify: don't port scan the U.S. government ever. Or like the army, especially the army, especially like the military and the army and that stuff, ever. Yeah, okay. Very specific, but like I sat in on a talk on port scanning and that dude made it so clear that you should never port scan like the military over anyone else. Okay, so then, wow, that is weird. So human intelligence is the last thing we're going to talk about, and it's the easiest thing to learn. Essentially what you are doing is you're creating a map of a person. You want to figure out who they are and what they do and why they do what they do. So that's everything from like social media to IRL addresses to like what are they doing on a daily basis. And there's a ton of different ways to do this. I'm going to cover general tactics at this meeting, and then I've got a bunch of slides on like specific things after it. And this is a live presentation, so I'm going to keep updating it as time moves on. Just because I learn more stuff. So there's kind of three difficulties for information gathering methods for like human intelligence. Easy mode is just like social media. So like the super basic stuff. Look at their posts, look at their bio. A shared username, so like you can just use Sherlock. If someone uses the exact same username on 20, 30, 40 different platforms, there's a thing called Sherlock, which you can use to just get all of the links to those usernames. And then medium mode, so some more in-depth searching. So like you want to know more about that person and you search up, okay, this person hometown, or this person hometown, and then you figure that out, and then you search up their last name plus like the church, and then you can get some more information there. Then look around like network profiles, so friends and followers. So if you've got lots of friends on a network, that might not be as helpful. But if you've got 4 or 5 people following you, and they all seem like personal friends of yours, maybe check their accounts out. Then paid services. So they're bullshit like 95% of the time. But if you have the money, first of all, don't waste your money. But if you have the money and you really need to, pay for 2 or 3 of the same service for the same person. And if they all point to the same thing, then it is valid. Then hard mode. This is voting records and like making a new friend. And it's suspicious, but it's also valid and like kind of unethical. Be really careful about your motives if you're going to try and social engineer your way into getting OSINT stuff. So like with voting records, you kind of need birth month and address. But if you can get the birth month and address, you can get a ton more information. So it's harder, but it exists. So great representation of OSINT tactics and like how people kind of fail at OSINT is this awesome infographic from Richmond Police Department. It's what information are you dragging around? So this applies to cars, of course, and like burglars and stuff, but it applies online, especially because what posts you make and what photos you take and where you check in on Facebook and all the stuff that you do can be aggregated by people who know what they're doing to create a full representation of who you are. And that, for some people, is not good. Because there's some pretty big implications of that. Like you can social engineer people, you can guess passwords. So like if it's very clear someone has bad OPSEC, you can probably guess their password given some OSINT information. Then, cool. So some general OSINT methods. This will apply to the challenges today. Identities. Most people have two identities online, a professional identity and a casual identity. The professional identity is your LinkedIn, maybe your Twitter. It's something that you would want companies to see, your personal website. Then your casual identity is the one you sign up to games with and the one you have a Discord account for and all of those things. Your job when you do OSINT is to take those two identities and combine them into a single person because they can often be segmented. How you speak casually and how you speak professionally are very, very different. So Sherlock, again, for identities, it can be used to find specific names on a bunch of different platforms. Definitely try it on your own usernames to see if you have accounts on weird, or like you have an account in that name on a weird platform. It's fun. Then human networks. People have friends and connect with them online. Abuse this. Abuse this information to find more information. So check your friends or your family or followers. Family tends to have really bad OPSEC about you. It's like, oh, here's my son's 19th birthday. It's their golden birthday, and it's on this day. And you can, that's their birthday. Or like, oh, we went on a trip to Bora Bora. Like, oh, wow, it's so great. We went with this kid. Or like, sometimes like people, like grandparents will just share way too much on Facebook to the point where it's comedic. Like, oh, this is not a true story. I'm just making this up. But like, oh, like these people got divorced and they hadn't even announced that they got divorced. Just like so sad. Yeah, but look for friends, look for followers, look for family, look for like really small numbers, because usually if it's really small, like this person is following 5 people, those people probably mean something important. Yeah, so birthdays and Facebook, sad face. Okay, this is not done, but media OSINT, I'm going to cover this a lot more. Just 10i. 10i, Yandex, Google image reverse search. Go use those, crop the image. I'm going to cover this a lot more on the weekend. And then image to location, also going to cover it on the weekend. Profile OSINT, going to cover it on the weekend. I'm negative as of yesterday, no one worry. And then OSINT detect, last tips for detection. Don't make noise. Don't do things that would get you noticed. Going on someone's social media isn't going to get you noticed unless they have viewing detection. So LinkedIn page views. If you go on LinkedIn and you're on your actual profile, it'll say like, hey, this person's viewing your profile. I once blew a social engineering assessment because I was connecting from my profile, and it very much said on my profile, I work for this company who's doing a pen test on your firm. And I connected like 6 times. So like, be careful. Learn from my mistakes. Here's a big, very specific mistake. For example, do not reply to a comment asking about some piece of information about someone, like asking that person for that piece of information, or like why they knew that piece of information. Don't do that. It's stupid. And it makes you look like a fool. Viewing content is generally fine, unless it's like they have viewing alerts. Yeah.
What was that mistake?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Viewing content's generally fine. Creating content will often get you noticed. So like if you make a post or a reply or something like that, that will set alarm bells off. Stay low, stay out of the way, and just make an account and look at what you need to. Don't actually do stuff. And then lastly, OSINT tools. Multego is like the holy grail of OSINT tools. It's a mapping tool with a ton of extra features. Primarily, there's these things called transforms, which can like automatically do a lot of this enumeration for you. So like I have Multego Pro because I won a raffle last year. Thank you, Multego. But give the community edition a spin. It's really, really cool how much information it can just dump. A lot of it can be noise, but if you know how to filter out the signal from the noise, then it's really, really powerful. And then some other OSINT resources real quick before my timer goes off. Michael Brazel's Open Source Intelligence Techniques book. It's on the 8th or 9th edition right now. That's the OSINT Bible. That's where I've learned a fair amount of this stuff. It's like $40. It's unbelievable. It's really, really cool. He teaches you how to do it without the use of any tools, and then you can make your own tools. And there's a lot of techniques that I haven't covered that I'm going to cover in depth on Sunday. So yeah, and then Trace Labs is OSINT on real missing persons cases, which is really cool. Bellingcat OSINT is like a cool OSINT firm that I follow like vaguely. I figured I'd throw them up there. And then Cyber SOC Wales has a 24/7 live OSINT CTF with like 50 some challenges. So definitely worth doing if you are into this stuff. Cool. Here's the challenge start. I'm going to dump these slides. There's the usernames for all of the suites that I've ever made. There's 31 challenges. Holy crap. So all of them are eventually going to go up on our infra. For now, the only ones that are up are the Spring 2019 challenges, which I would classify as medium. Go. There's the usernames. I'm not going to tell you what they're for. Just go try them on various platforms until you find it. The hint is a lot of it's Twitter. But then, yeah, I'm going to make an upcoming suite. I don't know if it's going to be done this semester or next semester. My alarm never went off. Whoops, I went too far. But yeah, so let us know if you're stuck or if something seems broken, like you can't find something, and we can help you. Next meetings this weekend is OSINT 2, which is more advanced OSINT methods and the other forms. So SysInt, Organt, and Netit. And then next Thursday, we're going to run networking. So that is the fundamentals behind how computers communicate with each other. TCP, IP, UDP, common networking vulnerabilities and attacks. So we're going to go over that. All right, cool. Thank you very much. After that is just like a bunch of different specific resource pages. All right. Stop the share. Thank you very much for coming. 13. I'm going to stop the recording too. Have a great one. Like and subscribe. Lamau.